Yo, what is up everyone? This is Rattlehead coming at you guys with a brand new video. I just wanted to do a blog post style video. Hopefully the angles look good. I'm doing it a bit differently because I wanted to show you guys something that I got when I got back home from ComboBreaker this past weekend, which is, right now it's the 26th of May. And this past weekend was ComboBreaker from the 22nd to the 24th. But I was there with my girlfriend on the 20th. We went there on the 20th and spent all day in Chicago on Thursday. It was we had a great time and everything went by so fast. But before I get to the ComboBreaker experience, I want to share with you guys something that I came across. I'm gonna grab them here. Something that I came back to actually. So early this year, I don't know if I told you guys that. And what was it? There was this event that came about, hosted by Able Gamers, which was a Paralympics esports event that was an official esports tournament that it was hosted by the Paralympics along with all the other sports that were going on during the Winter Olympics. And they hosted Street Fighter 6. And they had different categories, of course. They had adaptive controls. They have like the open bracket for all disabilities, and then they have the bracket for the low vision and blind. And I happen to be on the low vision and blind bracket. And on that one in particular, I actually won a gold medal. And so what I got over the mail when I came back, because it took a while for them to send it to us, but they finally got it and it is official. What I have here. The first thing I want to show you guys is this, and I don't even know if I have it angled right. I want to show y'all. I don't know if you guys can kind of see that or not. But this is it's a coin. It's a giant coin that has I3 on it, which is the name of the event that happened. And basically, it's just like a participation coin, right? That has it. So I'm just gonna spin it around until hopefully at some point you can pause it if you can see it and kind of see what it says. Right now I have it in front of my face, literally. And it's the same thing too here in the back, I think. But it's all I3 is what it's called. So that's the coin here, part of the participation. But then the big event, or like the biggest thing here, is that your boy, I'm just making sure, your boy here got an Olympic gold medal from taking first place in the blind low vision edition of Street Fighter 6 of all games. Like, right? That's like, that's insane. So this is it right here. Yep, here's the gold medal. Here it is. Again, I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm gonna bring it close to the camera while I'm trying anyway. Right there. So you guys let me know if you can see that in the comments section. Feel free to let me know. But yeah, I guess this would be like if I was to use it. I'm gonna put it on me right now. It's on me right now. Boom, there you go. Your boy won Street Fighter 6, the blind low vision edition. Got a freaking gold medal. But to be fair, Blind Warrior Sven wasn't there, wasn't in the bracket. Otherwise, it would have taken that completely, because I'm a basic Street Fighter player. But this is what we got. This is it. Yeah. So it's on me right now. I don't know if it looks alright or not, but yeah, you can see it right there. Right now I'm holding it, but now I let it go and it's on me and it's around my neck, with the lanyard. And Street Fighter 6 official gold medal. Honestly, I think I'm gonna frame this. Not gonna like wear it. Basically, I just figured I just kind of show you guys how it went down. But anyway, enough of that. Because that was earlier in the year, and that's basically how I came back to ComboBreaker during that time, yesterday, which was the 25th, Monday the 25th. And I came back and basically I was greeted with like, hey, there's a package for you. Boom. It turns out to be my medals. So, but anyway, I want to talk about ComboBreaker now. So of course, like I said, I was with my girlfriend on the 20th. We got there, and then on Thursday, We spent most of the time downtown Chicago. So of course, we also had to go to we like the bridge where the river goes, the Michigan River, and we were at the lake, Michigan Lake, I mean. And so we were there, of course. And when we went, we didn't get a chance to get on the boats though, because time was just going so fast. But I did hit up a couple of bars. That's pretty nice. And but we're walking around and everything. So, and we did that. So the thing about it too is that my girlfriend's really into a doll collection, and she likes American Girl, which is there in Chicago. So hey, so she's supporting me to go to a tournament. So why not do the same? And so we went with her, to go check it out and everything. We even had lunch there, which was really good, by the way. But it was still great. Like that's the food quality was actually really good too. So it was kind of like we got a chance to hang out in there, and then of course that rest of the day we spent it around walking around, going to different areas and all of that. And of course the bridge. I do have some pictures, so if you guys want to kind of check it out on my social media, for those who can't see, I'm gonna be posting most of it. I've been doing it on my Twitter. I've been posting a few things, but that's more like tournament related. And with that said, let's talk about basically the ComboBreaker experience. So we got a chance to pick up my badge, our badges actually. And again, big shout outs to ComboBreaker, the crew, for hooking up my girlfriend to go in there. It's because as she was with me, she got in like that. She got hooked. They hooked her up. So I thought that was really, really cool. And then so yeah, we went on Thursday. We picked them up. We went back to the hotel and just kind of chilled and got ready for the next day, because my pool started at 12 in the afternoon. So anyway, that kind of leads me into day one. So day one, there are a couple of things that happened that were unfortunate, but it's things happen at events. It's always gonna happen. So this time around, they hosted in what's called an all-together tournament, which is like an NRS 15th anniversary of NRS history. So basically, starting from MK9, Injustice 1, MKX, Injustice 2, MK11, and MK1. Most of the tournaments were held on PC setups. Now, the first thing that we noticed right away is that HPC setup did not have like mice or keyboards, and so any issues that would happen, was gonna be hard to really fix that. But the main thing though was that one of the things that we noticed right away is that there were no headsets, none of that. And so when it was time for me to play, which was I signed up for Mortal Kombat 9, MKX. I did sign up for MK11 as well, and MK1. So I signed up for all the Mortal Kombat titles, and then so the first one was on PC because they were using the Mortal Kombat Ultimate Edition, the complete edition, sorry, for MK9 on PC because it runs the best in there. But that caused an issue because I hooked up my headset, and you know how Windows is, like Windows 11 specifically, where you plug in a controller and automatically switches to your controller audio, or if you hook up a headset, it switches right. Sometimes it doesn't even switch. I mean, there's just all this stuff that happens with Windows 11, right? And so we weren't getting any sound at all. Even like we tried several things like hooking it directly to the PC, my headset, right? And then that didn't work. Then hooking up the cable, the aux cable, into the controller to see if there was any sound there. Nothing. So and they tried several things too, but again, keep in mind there was no mice or keyboards. So that ended up not working, and they tried. Like, that's another thing I want to make sure people are aware of, is that the staff, the tournament organizers, they totally tried. They did the best what they could, but it just it didn't work out. So in saying that, it was like what, 10, 15 to 20 minutes. I pretty much was holding the bracket. So, they were like, hey, sorry, dude, there's nothing we can do about it. And I was like, you know what, just DQ me, just get it over with. That's fine. And hopefully, everything else is on, like Mortal Kombat 1 is going to be on console anyway. So that worked out okay. But then that happened, right? And then, so when that happened, I just made a general post because, like, I knew that it wasn't nobody's, like, people tried, to fix the audio issue, but it just didn't work out. So I just made a post on Twitter that kind of, I don't know if I call it viral, but it went, like, it had over 11K views now that I'm looking at it, before I recorded the video. And yeah, like, it was, and it got to the point where Rick himself, like, heard about it, and and everything. So so people reached out to me. They were acknowledging the situation, and even some of the like fellow MK crew, they knew about it. And when I would talk to them, they were like, "Oh man, I heard about the audio issue, man. That sucks. That really sucks." And shout outs to Mike Metroid too, though, because he obviously he was not there when that happened. But he was like, dude, if I was there, I would have known. But it just happened. I had to step away, and I wasn't there during your bracket. So, yeah. So then, so big shout outs to people who, like, were aware about it. And I don't know how. And like I said, I just made a post, and it wasn't like, oh man, this sucks, blah blah blah. It was just more like it was just a fact. I just let people know, hey, I had to DQ for Mortal Kombat 9. There's no sound, and so I just just leave it at that, and that's it. But of course there's gonna be people that think like, oh, you screwed him over, blah blah blah. But it's like, hey, it happened. So it's all good. And not only that, but the staff acknowledged it. They acknowledged what happened with the situation. So boom, there goes that, and I left it at that. So then, of course, MK1 happened. I didn't do good on that, like, honestly, because at that point I was kind of bumped out, and so I didn't even, like, I was like, yeah, whatever, So I went 2-0 on MK1. So so that basically, that was day one, right? But good thing there's always something to do at ComboBreaker. We spent because we really liked the popcorn baron that they have over there. It's really freaking good. And so my girlfriend wanted a certain flavor, so we were in line for maybe an hour and a half, maybe. But we weren't the only one. The only ones. It was like a lot of people in there, and so, but so that kind of ate away during the day, and but we still, like, we were not laughing, just talking about, like, random things or whatever, and yeah, and we finally got a popcorn, and then I did my MK1 run, and of course we still hung out and kind of spectated and everything. So day one was kind of like, it's like, it was whatever. But then, so that ended right there. And then day two, then we did day two. And then I found out, hey, by the way, MKX is going to be on PC. I'm like, oh, dude, no way. So, but what we did is we went to go check the stations anyway. And we did notice that all the stations now had headsets, and they had splitters. So, so you just pick up a headset and just plug it in, or if you want to plug in your own, just make sure you use the splitter kind of thing, right? And they also made it where you plug in the controller, and most of the time the sound wouldn't go away, but at times it did happen. But anyway, so when it was time for me to play, my pool came about, and we tried it, and the first thing that happened was I plugged in my controller, and boom, the sound went to the controller. And then when I plugged it in, it wasn't working. But then there was a guy, shout outs to Duelist, who was there, and he was like, oh, hey, I know what it is, and I shared my ideas to him too. He's like, oh yeah, you know what, I knew about that now because I stayed up all night fixing all of these setups to make sure it works. Like, people took it like that seriously, like, there was a blind player in the event, and they did all they could to make sure that I was able to play my next pools. And people were saying, yeah, we want you to play it, And so that meant a lot, to be honest. That meant, like, a lot, because there people, there were tournament organizers and people that knew about me that hey, we want you to play, so I want to make sure we'll do whatever it takes. So big shout outs to Duelist. Be sure you have to guys give him a follow. He's pretty big in the community anyway, but but it's always good to acknowledge, like, stuff like that, because nobody pays you for that, So, but yeah, so he stayed up all night fixing the sound. So any station that I would go to at this point had a headset, or had sound, right? And everything, of course, and then some other players too were, we encountered other PC issues, and apparently I found out because I couldn't watch the streams. I didn't have signal during the event as much. So I was told that even on stream, people had PC issues with the setups as well. So I mean, there was that too. So it wasn't just like me or anything. It was just more like, it was like the entire event, like PC setups. People were saying that their buttons will be reconfigured before the matches start, or like, you know, they will configure during the character select screen. Next thing you know, they're in the match, and boom, like it's not working as intended. So I mean, there was just a lot going on. But MKX, I did the best out of that in MKX. Basically, I made it through winners round 3, and my first opponent, I defeated them 3-0, and they were a good sport about it too. They were like, "Oh man, you got me!" Like, and you know, he didn't know about blind players, so he was like, "Dude, I don't get it." Like, you know, it really threw me off, because he used to go straight up. It was like I wasn't expecting for somebody to play like that, you know. And it's funny because he was using Bone Shaper Shinnok, and I made that character in MKX, so I was like, oh, I know this matchup, you know. And so I made him switch to Ermac, but you can tell his Ermac wasn't like, you know, up to par. And he acknowledges like, you know, my Ermac, you know, I'm kind of rusty. But he was like, dude, I honestly like didn't know people play like that, you know. That's crazy, you know. So he said that it threw him off too. So, but you know, but that was cool. And then my second opponent, they actually DQ'd, so I did get a bye. But you know, in tournament we take those. Like there was even a crowd that showed up, and they were like, "Oh no, we take those." Like we go to winners round 3, we take those. Like that's a win right there, you know. And then my opponent was OD full auto. For those who may not know, in the MKX scene, he's one of the top. Or even in MK in general, he's one of the top players. And everything. He's a Jackie main in MKX, and he's like really good. But we went toe to toe. I made a post about it. I couldn't believe it, because like I was able to get you know, I didn't get to win the set, but I took rounds. Like I took several rounds. Like every match, I took rounds. And like, and what's funny, because he was with his OD crew, and like everybody, like we know him, like them and their crowd, and everybody, they were behind, and they were like, you know, cheering. Dude, they went against them too, and they were like, you know what, right now, you know, they were like cheering against them, like, we were rooting for you, bro, blah blah, you know. I met Too Easy and some other players too, and they were like, dude, like, man, you know what, screw him, we were rooting for you, blah blah blah. But everybody was laughing, you know. It was a great time. And but yeah, so MKX like did good, of course. And losers, I was about to like go into losers round 2, but then, you know, my opponent adapted really well, and I wasn't able to capitalize. I made some mistakes too, because he was dropping his combos, you know, and there was a couple of times where he dropped like a crucial combo, and I was able to make a comeback right there, with like a very like low health, because that was the time, that was the because we went 3-1 on that set. But you know, that set that I won, or like the match, you know, my health was like very low, and I was able to make a comeback. Like it was sick, you know. But anyway, but he adapted. But of course, he said that my Scorpion was like legit. I was like, man, that's cool, you know. He's like, dude, that Scorpion was clean. So yeah, he says he always hates, he's annoyed with fighting Scorpions. So he's like, nah, this was like, you know, he said it felt different. But whatever. So MKS was fun, and then the rest of the night, of course, we watched the exhibitions. I'm sure like people, the NRS crew, you know, who tune into the MK stuff, knew about the NRS exhibitions where they play different games and everything. Like their opponents will go through different games. That was cool. So we got to experience it, but we did leave a little early because, you know, again, my girlfriend, like, you know, I don't want, you know, she was getting tired, so I was like, no, let's go. You know, I didn't want her to like be there and, you know, whatever. So, but it's cool, you know, like it's fine. That's, but yeah. And then MK11, that was like on Sunday. I honestly didn't feel like I was gonna do good in any way, because I haven't even touched the game. But you know, I was able to take a match on loser side, because on winners I played against Bacon Lord, and if you guys know who that is, he's like a Cetrion player that is really good. You know, and you know, he's always in tournaments, you know, so there I have that experience. And so I'm like, man, my first round was, you know, with that, like, you know, with that opponent right away. So he sent me to losers, and then I went with a Liu Kang player, and he beat me 3-1. You know, so that's all right. But then the big things though is that at the end of the day is about networking, right? A lot of these tournaments are about, you know, about some developers are there, and I do have to say that I did hang out with a couple of I met a couple of other NRS developers there, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. Basically, we got to hang out, and it was a good time. We got to hang out and everything. And one of them, actually, it was funny because one of them wasn't there when I went to NRS at the time. Like it's not like he wasn't working there, but what I'm saying, he just wasn't there that day. You know, those weeks, like he was probably on vacation or something. But he didn't know. He comes up to me and he's like, "Hey man, so what you think about the MK1 accessibility?" And I'm like, I was there for it. And he was like, no way. I was like, yeah, I know, I know. Like I know, and I know the sound team and everything. And I was in the studio. He was like, no way, And he was like, yeah, And so we show him that. I showed him the picture when we were in the studio, and he was like, oh, dude, I was out during that week, man. That sucks, blah blah. But yeah, but that's cool. I'm like, I was like, yeah, I was a part of that. So he was like, once he found out, and so of course we talked and everything too. But again, I just leave it at that. And then on Sunday, once I got eliminated from MK11, my girlfriend helped me out to find out the Invincible versus area and the stage and everything. And lo and behold, I got to talk directly to Mike Willette. And Dan Hall was there too, but Mike was, I talked to him and like I discussed my interest in the game. I basically shared how just the sound design overall of Invincible Versus is really fun, really good, and yeah. So we got to talk and sit for a while. We talked for like, I don't know, maybe like 10 minutes. Yeah, maybe like 10 minutes. So I mean, he gave me his time. Like they gave me the time, and like he was like acknowledging like my points. He's like, man, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And I was telling him, just some of the things, and I asked how can we continue providing feedback and everything. So as far as like his what he mentioned too is to definitely stay in contact with them through their Discord, and they do have a person to reach out to in there, which was one of the community managers, Skybound Isaiah, to reach out, and if you any feedback, just be sure to tag that person in Discord. So we'll definitely do that. And they did mention about that they are listening, they're prioritizing, of course, like the DLC, right, and balance patches, because they are kind of a smaller team, and and of course like implementing all these things, because I did mention them. I basically kind of broke it down for them, where like a lot of it is just additional sound cues, and like of course narration in the game. And I kind of showed it to him, like especially using my phone and stuff, like this is what we mean, and it reads like the menus and stuff like that, so that way you get access to the pause menus. And of course I let him know, hey, that's something that we worked on with NetherRealm Studios. And it's like, oh man, okay. So hopefully that gave him more like idea that this is like a serious thing, right? So who knows? But who knows what's gonna happen? To be honest, that's with these companies. Some people made good points about on my Twitters. Like at the end of the day, it's the publishers that make those decisions. The devs might be wanting to do everything, but then they can't because the publishers is like, nah, we don't have time for that, or we don't want to put the money for that, or whatever. But we'll see how it goes. But anyway, this has been a very, very long blog post video. Hopefully this looks okay, because I wanted to do something different. And the background, you probably might, I'm blocking it, but in the background here, I have Invincible versus pause, because I'm going to be practicing on Invincible versus. And of course, and for those who can't see me, I'm also wearing a Mortal Kombat 1 shirt with Liu Kang on it. That I got from NRS. Actually, I got this shirt from NRS. But anyway, yeah, no, it was cool. I also want to finish with saying that I met a lot of fellow MK players. Got a chance to I was actually talking to Foxy Grandpa for like maybe like 6-8 minutes. Like he actually gave me the time, and he was acknowledging that yeah, he's aware of the blind FGC, he supports it, like he's a he likes that one of us is always there, like in these events. Oh yeah, he goes like because I was telling him about, he was asking about my pool, and I told him about MKX, about the guy, he didn't know who I was, and he's like, dude, how the hell they don't know, like you're always here at these events. I'm like, nah man, a lot of people still don't know about blind players, like yes, because you guys know what's up, but a lot of people still don't know. He was like, man, boy, they need to know more, dude, like they need to know. So I took a picture with him, of course, with my boy Mike Metroid as well. My boy Tento, I got to talk to him for a little bit too, who also acknowledged about the whole MK9 situation. And of course, the usuals, Mr. Aquaman, everybody else was there too. But yeah, and of course, my Duelist, big shout outs for fixing the sound, staying up all night fixing it. That was incredible. So yeah. But with that said, I'm gonna end it here now. I'll catch you guys on the next stream. I came back from vacation, And I mean, it was kind of vacation pretty much, so it was a lot of fun. Great tournament, great overall. Not only that, but you know, throughout the weekend there was game sound for every major game that, like, on all stages, you know, that were there. And I even posted a clip from one of my experiences with you know, tuning into an MKX Top 8. You know, they had the audio. You could hear it. You could hear everything. You know, so you know, they made sure to make like that let's say blind players get a chance to actually spectate as well. You know, and so I mean, they did that, and I was like the only blind player there, and they still did all of that. And I mean, that's freaking cool. You know. So anyway, with that said, this is it, y'all. Thank you so much. If you made it all the way to the end, I appreciate it. You know, this is a lot. It's probably like super long. I don't think anybody would make it this far, but thank you for, you know, always supporting. But of course, you know, we're out here trying to, you know, expand, let developers know about blind players. You know, I'm doing what I can. Of course, I can only talk to them, right? You know, that's what I can do. Of course, if they do want to work with me, go into the studios and all of that, you know, I'm down. Not just with NRS, but any other fighting game, you know, developer that's out there. Feel free to reach out. And yeah, but so yeah, anyway, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section about ComboBreaker. How did you experience it? Was it good? Was it fun? Or any issues? I know some people did mention about the stream PC issues with the NRS titles. So anyway, with that said, I'm gonna end it here, y'all. This is Carlos, aka Rattlehead, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.